Oh my God. Faster. It's faster now. I upgraded my internet because a company actually went through with it. Yay! It wasn't in my area, but they built it. And we're back from a very long vacation, and it looks like this is going good. Fast internet, finally. Okay, cool. So we have a Grand Cherokee L, and we're going to be doing this in 2%. That's what the box says. It's meter darker, but it's really dark. So we're going to be doing that on the front doors, and then we're going to be layering that over the factory percent on the rest of it. Yeah, this is Tint Depot's Carbon 2%. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Who's this guy? I know, right? It's been a minute, but you guys got some videos. Like, I was never gone for 6 weeks. It's black as hell. So they have another vehicle that they had tinted, and they had double 5 on it. So I don't know if I've ever double layered anything other than like something that was already dry. So it's just one of those things where I grabbed the darkest film that I knew would be great for the car, and if that's still not dark enough, then we'll do another one. I should have checked this. Why is this not? Oh, there we go. Okay. No, we're fine. I use it often for people. Did a Durango, and it's black. Yeah, we were looking at it up front. It's damn dark. The only thing that was like slightly annoying is we did we took the 5% displays, put them together, and then compared it to the 2. And the 2 layers of 5 look slightly darker, annoyingly, but this should be good. Whoa, what? Hang on one second. We got some connection problems going on? What's up here? No, it's okay now. I wonder if we have a slightly bad connection. Things just sat, but they're all should be all charged up. Do a BTU meter test afterwards and be shocked. Oh, yeah, because you're putting a ton of carbon in it, so that's going to block a substantial amount of heat. Should be good. All right, there we go. Yeah, we should definitely check it out. Let's cross our fingers that everything works. It's been a minute. Even though if you don't touch things and you just leave them, and then you come back from a while, something's inevitably broken for no good reason. So we're going to figure out what that is. But enough is working right now, so that's good. Yeah, we should definitely take it up front and do a BTU meter. I have another appointment coming in after this one, so I don't have an insane amount of time, unfortunately, but check. All right, sweet. Pow! There we go. All right. So how you guys been? You guys been good? Tool belts. Let's track some things down. I've been back for the week. I just haven't. This is the first day back streaming because, dude, jet lag like crazy. We got completely used to being on the other side of the world for 6 weeks. And so when you get back here, last night, we laid down for about a half an hour and got tired at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon after I got back. And then next thing you know, we woke up at 10 o'clock and then didn't go back to sleep till 3 a.m. maybe 330. All right, so this is the meter here. 300, that's kind of what I like to put it at. Carbon drops it to 150. Ceramic goes to 70. Now, just kind of, I don't have a clear piece of glass here, unfortunately, but we're gonna do it over the dyed and just kind of see where this goes, down from 300. Woo! That's down to 50. Yep. Oh yeah. This is some dark stuff. Let me let you guys look through it. Let me see here. That's what we're Can I grab 5? Here. Let's grab a slide here. All right. So this is 5. It's dark. This is 2. What do you think? Pretty good? Gonna be good? All right. Let's do it. Oh, things are not any cleaner. Tape. Oh, yeah. So, this was kind of frustrating. The day I left, we got our new Glass Aid seal guard in. So that's this stuff right here. So, been using Lowe's tape, house wrap tape for ages, and got frustrated with all the price hikes. So I went out on my own. Carrie did an amazing job on this logo, by the way. And inside, outside, it's friggin' cool. So this is what we're gonna be using from now on. And it's in the store for $9, because fuck all the price increases. So what's kind of nice is you can tear it with your hands, and it tears pretty damn easily. So we always have a knife on hand, or at least most of the time. So not like the biggest thing, but something to note. What I did really appreciate about it is that you can just put a liner along here, kind of wedge your finger in the end, and then just rip it off like that. So to me, it made that part a little bit easier. So if you don't have your knife on hand, you can still put it up pretty quickly. These are felt seals, actually, so this will be a really good demo today. It sticks to felt. It sticks to rubber. It's got a good grip over the plastic panels. It's white, so you can see all your edges. And clocks in at $9 a roll, which is awesome. It is some chunky stuff, too. Not that that's a huge deal, but oh my God, these rolls. This is what I typically use, and this is basically like a full roll here. Maybe a little off this roll. Oh my God, the difference. It's so much chunkier. Yeah, 2%. That's going to be kind of crazy on this, for sure. Figure that'd be a fun one, though. These new? Yes. It's been so dead and sterling. Oh, this thing's not even on. We're getting back to things. I haven't been here. I've been in really damn near 90-degree weather. It was anywhere from like 80s to 90, but stupid humid. That was it's cold here, and I don't know for how long I've said I'd like to move somewhere warmer. Dude, I can appreciate non-humid weather a great deal. Are you gonna do? I've ordered the tape. Oh my God, it's coming through. Thank you. DW, what's up, man? I'm so happy right now. What a time to be alive. Over tape. Yeah, every time an order comes through, it fires off the printer, which is kind of fun. Are you gonna do the Sharpie technique? I don't have a lot of extra time today, so I don't think so. But a lot of people really liked that video, so that was cool to see. What brand has 2%? So this is gonna be this one right here. This is Tint Depot's Carbon Shield, 2%. Is this good money? Yeah, tinting's great money. There. Is this too tall? No, this is perfect. Yay. Oh, a Passat? Passat is a difficult car. No matter how you cut that one up. Tuck tape is good stuff, though. I was a big fan of it. Price on that is always kind of fluctuating. So this stuff kind of came about because of tuck tape. So I got in contact with the manufacturers for it. And Tuck Tape is actually a Canadian brand. So they have a US brand. The makers of, like, they make way more tape than just Tuck Tape. So they have a US one. And a rep actually came out here, talked to him, really nice guy, tossed around some, like, ideas and stuff. And, yeah, if you want to get something through a very big company like that made, it is incredibly expensive. So I just wanted to bring in tuck tape or whatever the US equivalent was, and it's just not feasible. They were basically saying, like, hey, unless you're ordering pallets, it's too expensive. All right, 1 second. I don't know. I got people that just roamed in. Wasn't expecting that. Sorry, guys. Somebody just came in asking all about classes and stuff. Pallets. Yeah. So we were talking about the tape. So the pallets, it was literally like you had to order an entire pallet of it. And to put it into context, a lot of them retail anywhere from $12 to $15 a roll right now. And ordering in anything less than a pallet quantity is like you're buying it just completely retail. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's just one button. One push. I'm so used to two. So I was using tuck tape for a long time, and then found Lowe's tape. And what was nice about Lowe's is that it was like $10 a roll, and that I had no problems with that. But what was funny is whenever I did these lives, everybody would ask it, like Lowe's was a running joke because it just has Lowe's all up the strip. And then they hiked it up to $15. You fuckers. Oh, I can't swear now on YouTube, damn it. So that wasn't fun. That's when I got really upset. So I figured out a solution. Just order a roll of tape and a side swipe? Hell yeah, thank you. So we're going to hand cut all the side windows, or all the doors, and then that back we're probably going to load onto the workhorse steel and plotter cut all that. And then we're going to stop this dinging. Thank you. I had an Audi A4 a few days ago, went to do 2-stage, kept pinching the film, so I had to redo it a few times. Any tips with type seals? An Audi A4 especially is kind of in that category of like Audi, VW, so the Passat we were talking about earlier. Yeah, those all have really tight tolerances. My only good suggestion when you're 2-staging something like that is just cut your sides a little bit slimmer so you don't have as much to fold and tuck into the sides. They're just kind of annoying and they'll pinch a little bit. You can always heat that pinch out, so it's not typically a big deal unless it's just like a really bad crease or a fold. But Audi A4, the whole Audi series really. Will you be doing the Sharpie method for this car? A few questions on the Sharpie method. If in the next 2 seconds I can find a Sharpie. No. No, I think I'm going to do it regular. I wasn't expecting that. So Sharpie method has been around for a very long time. There's some other people, like it's more of a Southern thing, I think. At least that's where I saw it the first time, and it was way more common. Up here, it was just, I think, pretty much unheard of, or at least nobody that I ever encountered ever pulled out a Sharpie. So when I would see other people's videos and stuff, I would just kind of assume everybody tinted and cut them out very similar to this. We might have like some little differences. But first time I saw like the long setup for it, and then all of a sudden, like, looked like it was going to grab his knife, and they grabbed a Sharpie. I was like, wait, what the hell? But I never adopted that method because I was mobile. So I thought about it a lot, and there's some ways you could do it right on the car. Probably with like a pair of scissors, or there's some other helpful cutting things. Because your main problem is just like the film starts waving and buckling. So that's where when you mark your size, bring it over to a board, that makes it all very easy. But when you're mobile or tinting in another shop and they don't set up boards for you, you have to figure something else out. And so since the only thing I ever knew was hand cutting, going from shop to shop, like, dude, sometimes I didn't even have room to open the doors, let alone have a glass board. So you just kind of deal with every situation, and what I could always rely on was the car. So I never adopted doing the Sharpie method. But I can see how helpful it is for some people. So especially into this year, we're at least going to review some alternative ways of tinting. There's nothing that I do or specialize in regularly, but showing some of those alternative ways to tint. But I still feel pretty strongly when you're learning, it's okay to kind of see some other options and what's out there, but when you are practicing, you don't want to confuse yourself too much and like, oh, I'm going to do this on this window, and then I'm going to jump over, try this other way on this other window, and then I'm going to do this other thing over here. You want to pick a method and kind of stick to it. So whether that's bottom loading, two staging, I suggest starting with probably the easiest direction and then getting good at that and then exploring some other options. Seems really fast, faster than a plotter. Yeah, I mean, what I didn't understand about the Sharpie at first is I was looking at it wrong. Like, oh, you're gonna mark this, you're gonna mark the bottom, you're gonna mark the sides, and then you cut those and bring it back and cut your top edge. And then I think I saw some comments about that, like, because this is not the first time that I've kind of reviewed that method. And they're like, no, if you put it up on the glass, mark your sides, and then just cut your top edge, you've saved yourself a ton of time, and that's where it kind of clicked. It's like, oh, it is really fast. So it's not adding any extra steps, it's just moving some steps from the car over to a different surface. So one thing that always takes me a little bit longer too is I'll take the patterns over to a board to cut the corners. I very regularly do that on the car itself. When I was mobile, I had no fear about doing that. But here, it's just I have a board there, so that's why I do it there. I'm starting to have pain in my joints from tinting. Ooh, that's no good. There was a time, especially when things were colder, like unexplained reasons, like all of a sudden my right hand would just like freeze up, and it kind of just went away. How do you get customers? Google Ads. Google Ads is a good one. Social platforms are definitely a good one. Just a big part of my whole thing here was the YouTube channel, but that doesn't like bring in any insane amounts of business. But good reviews on like your maps listings. So like work on putting lots of pictures and constantly updating, especially like your Google Maps profile. Trying to add reviews to it. That always helps you stand out. And build a website that helps inform your customers rather than just like have some nice information about, you know, your shop and your hours and where you're located. Everybody always goes at like getting customers from the angle of like they, you know, oh, people are looking for tint, and I just need to try and find those people. But there often are like, especially we're seeing trends with TikTok where it's like there's so many people that don't know anything about it, and then they see something cool. Next thing you know, there's a wave of people asking about it. We've seen that time and time again. So it's when you set up things that, you know, you could even add like state laws and stuff like that, so the people that are looking around for window tint are going to your site and learning that from you rather than coming to me. So there's a lot of little things, and especially when it's slow, you get to focus on all those things because it is slow. But when it gets busy, don't forget about those things because then it'll slow down again. Wintertime's pretty typical for slowdowns. January, February are typically like the worst because it just gets so cold. And then when things start warming up again, tax season comes in. This year's a little odd. I mean, a couple years ago was a little odd because we had pandemic shutdowns. And then we had massive surges after that. But now we're, you know, interest rates spiked. So people aren't purchasing vehicles like so. We were looking at like getting a van because when we got our house, that pushed us over the income ratio. So we had to get rid of the van, unfortunately. And it's like, yeah, we'll just rebuy it afterwards, whatever, not a big deal. And then interest rates spiked up. So now what would be, you know, an expensive vehicle is very, very expensive just because of that change. Home interest rates went from being like 2.5% to now being 7%. And if you don't really know what that means, it's like, well, the same house payment that would have been like $2,000 is then like $3,500. So all that stuff starts to have an effect. I've just seen lots of news articles about lots of tech layoffs. Certain businesses are doing really well. Other ones are definitely slumping down and getting into slowdown mode. So mix that with wintertime and things get slow. Is it true having 100,000 subscribers allows you to make decent money from ad revenue? No, that's false. Subscribers is more of a vanity number. It's like, it's a number you can't look away from, and it's a big accomplishment to hit. So I'm super happy that I got there, and I've got my plaque up front. The client for this car just said like he brought his truck in last year. I tinted it, and that's when I was under 100,000 subscribers. So he said congrats, which is super nice. Oh my God, that's so dark. So it was really nice of him. But what brings in money on YouTube is views, and you don't need 100,000 subscribers to get views. The majority of your subscribers don't necessarily watch your videos. Everything's about being recommended. So if it's a good video, it'll get recommended more on YouTube, and they have different ways of measuring it, and it's a tough game. That's why I put a lot of focus long-term into the store that's on there, because there's some months that have been amazing, and then next thing you know, it's just views slow down. I put out some videos that don't do as well, and that's just it. You get paid on the attraction that you have. There's no consistency there. Trends change, things change, and it's tough. Been in the business for 6 years. Just posted a video yesterday on my channel, showcase my experience and work. You can see it now. If you remind me when I'm back in front of the computer, yeah, it'd be fun to check it out. That's cool, though. Yeah, I think every shop should post videos about what it's like at your shop, why you do what you do. Post that on all your normal stuff, and then share it with the customers. Because like where it's really, so if you just post it on your channel, you use it as a tool to then embed on your website and stuff like that, as just another way that, like, so if I go to your website, and I want to know more about your business, and I see you got some videos and stuff about what you do, spending $300-$400 on getting my car tinted, absolutely, let's see what you're about. That does a lot of selling for you, and it's hard to say exactly how much it does, but it definitely does. All right, I'm way confused now. What happened here? Okay, there we go. One thing that's cool, though, is if you share it with the clients, because that's their cars, you made a video with somebody's car in it, and you share it to them, that's something that they can take and then share it to other people. If it's a fun video, it's like, hey, yeah, they made a video for me of my car. How many businesses and places actually do something like that? It's like, how many places do you go to that you would get your car worked on, and then next thing you know, they send you a video after it's done and say, thank you for bringing it in, I appreciate it. Nobody does that. I've never gotten that. So there's ways to think outside of the box and really try and put a focus on your own customers and do things that you wouldn't expect. On average, how many cars in a week? When I set my own schedule, I'll generally do like 2 in a day. I don't do crazy amounts right now. It gives me time to do videos and stream and stuff. Super chat. Aww.
LKB Python super chatted $2. Old man. It's been a while, how's the family?
Was there another one?
Slim33 super chatted $4.99.
Slim, why did this not work? Hang on. So things break. 1 second here. Oh, that's why. Here. Oh, God. Slim33, thank you so much for the 5. LKB, thank you so much for the 2. It's been a while. How's the family? Family's good. My son is officially in the terrible 2s. So you walk out of the room and he starts crying. When we were in the Philippines, oh man, we were around my wife's family, and my son is definitely kind of shy. Dude, he was like glued to my side most of it, and he would also get bored and want to go do stuff, but he would always try and, it's like he wants to pull me to go places and whatnot. And then if they come up to him, then he runs to me and he's like, ah! So we were dealing with that a lot. But family's good. We're very jet lagged. We're basically 12 hours behind or ahead. So right now, over there, it's technically 11 hours. Over there in the Philippines, what is it? It's 11 a.m. here, so it's 12 p.m. over there. Once you hit 1 million subs, do you think you will do some cars for cheap/free just for the footage? I've really thought about that. I thought about that for a long time. So, because I browse a lot of YouTube, and I see lots of different trends and stuff. And there's like cool things like landscaping channels where they go in and like try and find somebody's home and just completely clear out all the overgrowth and stuff. And they do something really nice for people, and they don't charge them or anything, and that's cool to see. With window tint, I just don't know if it would have like the same type of effect. And if I've learned anything, cheap customers for window tint are the worst customers. So, but doing something for free for the channel, so there's like two sides to this. I thought about doing it, and part of me wants to, because then you just have more cars, and you, like, it's probably just a one-shot go. But, you know, I also don't want to just turn out bad jobs. The other thing is I kind of, like, put this weird pressure on myself when I made this business to, like, set it kind of as an example, too, and not just, like, hey, these are all the things that you can do with your business. But I don't do that. So everything that I talk about, I do here. Heat lamps, different films. I've got to find my own business. I got to sell jobs. Yeah, I have a channel, but believe me, it does not bring in like 50 leads in a day. So I still get plenty of phone calls. How much? I got one first thing at 10 o'clock this morning. Somebody called. Hey, how much? Oh, okay, can I bring it in? And I was like, actually, I'm booked today. Click. That's just how this business goes. So I'm not that much different than anybody else in all of this. So working at other shops, being frustrated with them not selling different films. I've worked with shops that definitely sell different films, so it was not like a foreign concept to me. Thank you.
Not Miguel Garcia super chatted $4.99. Hey, huge fan. I own a shop and was wondering where you got your floor mats. I'm tired of slipping all over the place.
Not Miguel. Well, what's your name then? Thank you so much for the 5. So this floor was from racedeck.com, RACEDECK, Racedeck. They have a handful of different floors. An alternative is also Swiss Tracks. I think Swiss Tracks is a little bit more expensive. The reason I got them, it wasn't because of slipping, but if you have like a epoxy floor, those actually get slippery unless they have like a lot of chips in them. So my dad's shop, we had to get basically used to slipping around because we weren't going to be changing the floors. But that being said, I don't slip on these floors at all. So racedeck.com. I've really liked it. The only couple things to note is if you're washing cars, doing a lot of cars in a day, and you don't have floor drains, the water just sits underneath and will go to your low spot. There's no magic about these floors. They are, they're exposed, so they do let your floors dry out. But I'm not doing 5 cars in a day in this bay every day, and it's super hot here. So everything has a chance to kind of dry out. Nothing gets moldy. It gets scuzzy underneath, and once a year, I should pull it apart and clean it out. There's a live stream, if you look on this channel, of me actually like cleaning out underneath it and talking more about the floor. But Race Deck, and thank you so much for the 5. Where do you get the film for the door panels? That is still carpet shield from hardware stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, Amazon. You can find it at all those places. It's a sticky plastic. The reason I like that it's a sticky it's a sticky plastic that's made to stick to carpeted surface, so you know it's pretty aggressive. But it also is made to be left on for an extended amount of time and not leave residue when you peel it off. So the reason I like that it's sticky is it sticks to some door panels. I think it used to stick to more, but there's like not much that sticks to door panel. So what I also do with the seal guard tape is I put a strip on the panel and I just take that plastic and stick it to this. This isn't a super economical way of covering door panels. What it is efficient. I think the dash protector people, they just came out with like a door panel system. I'll probably want to look into something like that. It's a tough problem to solve. It seems easy. It's not. It's really tough because from what I can tell, you know, there's companies that are literally, like, they have chemicals like Scotchgard and stuff like that that are literally made so nothing sticks to car door panels because they don't want to mess up the interiors and stuff. You know, so it's easy to clean your car. So for us, that means trying to find anything to cover the door panel becomes a big chore because nothing wants to stick to it. So people that pop the seals out have a better time with that than people that don't take it apart. That's pretty damn dark. What solution do you use? We got something interesting in the mix that should be coming out here pretty soon to address all the GeoShield tackiness. But I ran out of that, and right now I have baby shampoo with a little tinge of Dawn in it. Is it the Geo mix? No, not yet. But that's coming here soon. They were actually really nice about that whole thing. So I had told them that it's been an issue for a long time. And I don't think he really realized, like, the headache that it can cause people, especially when you're new. You pick it up, and then you're just like, why isn't my film sliding? There's some guys that like tacky, and there's a lot of people, especially me, that don't. I like it. It makes it more difficult. So if you put the film on the glass, you should be able to slide it a little bit to get it into place. It only makes sense. So what's cool about what's coming up is they finally took it on themselves to create a solution, and then they called me and they're like, hey, thank you for everything that you've done, and we really like working with you. Would you like to collab on this product? And it's like, oh, hell yeah. So we're collabing on it. They also sent samples to me and stuff to like give them feedback and everything, but that was very nice of them. Any thoughts on Lexan Film to Practice? Okay. So I don't recommend it for practicing, but okay, so like real talk, Jack, my assistant dude that gets all your orders to you guys super fast. He's like, you're gonna hate me. I'm like, why? He's like, I bought a roll of Lexan. I'm like, what the fuck? There's just something about that brand. It doesn't matter who you are or what I say. People are gonna buy it. That's fine. The reason why I don't recommend it for practice is just don't get their cheapest carbon films, and you should have a better time with shrinking. It's still not going to shrink quite as quickly and easily as something like Geo. There's other films too. Sun Distributing, their Helios Orbit lineup. That stuff shrinks really well. There's no shortage of films that shrink very easily. It's just when you go with a cheap carbon film, the carbon is what makes it shrink slower. So then you have to get the heat gun closer, and it throws a lot of people off, and they don't realize, like, and then next thing you know, they screw it up. So it gets difficult. Do you enjoy tinting cars more or training people on how to tint more? I really like the balance of everything that I've made. There's no one thing I enjoy completely more than everything else, actually. I'm a big fan of just, like, I run my classes once a month. I could run them probably more frequently if I wanted to. But it's a lot to run the class, but oh man, hearing like how excited people are. And then you like, so there was one guy, I think his name was Tim. And Tim had a hard time trying to get to the class 2 times in a row. And he had called me like the day before. He was just like, man, I was all set. Everything was good. And then something happened again. And now I can't make it. Is there any way that we can postpone it to the next month? So he finally made it to the November class. And he didn't realize that like a tint keg was a part of the class too. And at the end of it, he was just, I think he made like a little joke. It's like, man, these things are really cool. It'd be cool if that was part of the class too, right? And I'm like, it is. That's yours. And he's like, wait, what? Oh man, that's like part of the amazing fun of running those classes. Thank you. It's so much fun. $20, M-O-B, or mob. I'll let it play.
Mobby NT super chatted $20. This my first live. Your videos helped me a lot.
Live.
I literally brought a bunch of film and tint tool, then went into business head first lol. 3 months later I'm actually making good off it. Just expressing my appreciation.
Oh, that's super cool. Thank you so much for the 20. 3 months and I'm making good off of it. Dude, that's impressive. Good job, man. That's super cool to hear. Thank you so much. I love messages like that. And kind of going back to the classes, like that's the whole point. There's always things that people don't quite get. And the classes are a way of showing you exactly what you need to do, even though everything is shown in the videos, making those little real-time corrections and stuff. And then just, you know, we literally set aside as much time to do those classes as we can, try and answer every question we possibly can that people have, and it's all hands-on, and just we throw a bunch of stuff at them. Like GeoShield had a bunch of goodie bags for the last one, and they said this year, they're like, man, you let us know when your class is, and we'll load it up. And I'm like, damn, that's cool. This one into place. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun with all the classes and stuff like that. And then like this week, I'm just getting back to things. I was kind of just like quietly tinting, well, on the phone, so I guess not quietly, but I was tinting while on the phone and just kind of like focusing on the work and then catching up on some things. So like I really enjoy, like this morning, I've got another appointment this afternoon, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll go live. But I really like the time to just kind of like focus on the work too. So it's a never revolving door. If I stream too much, I get worn out and just want to focus on the cars. If I tint too many cars, I want to step back and do something else. And then if I'm not tinting for a long time, then I'm like, you get that itch to get back to it. So just kind of diversifying enough in different things. And then next thing you know, we have a class. And so just a lot of fun things going on. Because I think no matter what, if you do 100% of one thing, I think eventually you start to get kind of like burnt out in certain ways. And finding different ways of making that like fun. So even if you like tinting and then you start doing, like that's one of the reasons to start doing videos. It was like I was tinting all day every day and I watched a lot of YouTube and I'm like, I want to start making videos of this. What kind of film is this? This is Tint Depot's 2% carbon shield. It's very dark. It's darker than anything Geo carries, and it's good stuff. It's crazy to think if Matt didn't start posting 10 years ago, some of us honestly wouldn't be here today, but decided to take the time to show the world. Damn. I don't want to think about it that way. Because, like, feel like that adds a lot of pressure. No, it's cool. I've gotten quite a few messages from people that have said, like, they watched the channel, they started tinting, and, like, they're really happy with where they're at today. And there's definite, for sure, times I think, like, I should make some other types of videos. But nothing else that I could do would hit a certain thing like window tinting, like being able to, like we're trying to help everybody to make their own businesses and independence and stuff, or just make a good income for yourself, any of that. And it's not bullshit. I'm not just doing free jobs here. I'm actually running my own. I've had to build it. I know what it's like. I've gone through it. And I still go through it. I still learn. I still add. I'm constantly working on new things that I can do. Not just for this business, but everything else I got going around it. So always something going on. How does the Tint Depot marketing point works? Been ordering like hell, but I don't know any. I do have an actual login. I'd ask them how that works. Offhand, I'm not sure. But they've got a really helpful support base. They've been putting out some good videos, too. Did any of you guys catch their, like, set now? Oh, my God. It looks awesome. It's cool to see them, like, catching up with the times. A lot of other companies are, like, way behind. Just like your Walmart challenges for tint. Would you do a challenge where you eat an edible, see if you can? No. Not one like that. I've done a blindfold one. I've done like some Walmart ones. I'd stick in that realm. I've been watching their videos. That's cool. Yeah, they've definitely put out some good ones. I always talk. Actually, I've had like one main contact with them. Arturo, their marketing guy. He's really good. He's really, really good at what he does. Poor man's battery. No, they always do that. If you open the driver's door, they beep. What film do you recommend for beginners? It's always a tough question to kind of answer. Tint Depot used to be a pretty good resource for more economical films, but 1.5 mil films have gotten more expensive. So like they're not the cheapest films out there. So you're generally just kind of like shopping around some different stuff. But Helios Orbit is like definitely a solid one I can recommend. It's not even a beginner film. It's just a great film. And I think it's like $175 for a 36-inch roll, where something a little more economical for practice was in the range of like $120, or at least that's where like some films used to be, but everything's kind of gone up in price. Nick is the man. He reached out to me for recommending their plotters and software. We're talking to regular now. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think it was a newer edition. He's been the face of like some of those videos. He does a good job. It's cool to see. I want to see. I'm still surprised how many companies don't do stuff like that. It's like they live in another world. How's that tint look from the inside? You tell me. It looks dark. It looks good. No funky colors. It just looks very dark. And this is also going to block out as much heat as a ceramic would, which is pretty crazy. Because that's the trick with carbon. The more carbon gets its darkness from carbon. Carbon blocks heat. So the more carbon that you add to it, the more heat that it's going to block. So if you want to keep like a 20%, it's going to block some heat, but you have to go really dark in the carbon to block additional heat on par with what ceramic does. Ceramic blocks heat and remains clear. So with the carbon, or with the ceramic, you can go as light as 70, 80, 90% and still keep clear windows. Nice. Very nice. Used 2% from a different company. It looked cheap, blue, black. This stuff doesn't. I'm pretty happy with it. I heard Scorpion had one. That was the only other one that I heard of. Like, they called it a 0%, which I think is just fun marketing. When you start getting this dark, you like the names of films. This is like a funny thing that a lot of companies don't realize either. Is the names of film actually kind of impact your sales too? It's just like Avery's like one of the best examples for this. They had some cool names because they were called Hanita. It was like they had the Omega line. They had the what was it called? Sigma, and then Sigma Pro. I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool. And then they just changed it to NR. And what's NR stand for? Non-reflective. That's just boring. And then they put it in brown boxes, and it's like there's no personality there. There's no fun there. It's just boring. Just stay away from Soul X film. The red dye inside is horrible. Ew. Cheaper to produce brown box. Yeah. I see why they did it. Because the vast majority of people just throw them out. I mean, eventually all my boxes get thrown out too, but here's the thing. Thank you.
Daniel Rayner super chatted $9.99. The great Tint Chief is back leading the world Tint tribe. Hurrah.
Daniel Rayna, good to see you. Thank you for the 10. The great Tint Chief is back leading the world Tint tribe. Hurrah. Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. The more color that you add, film boxes, the more expensive it gets. Yep, printing plates, exactly right. Yep, that's why they don't have, largely don't have any gradients. You pick colors, so you have white, you have gray, and you have orange. And then each one of those colors you add to the box adds costs. 100% right. And so from being on the other side of things before, it's kind of funny. So I sourced, I was trying to find a training film for a while. And then when the boxes arrived, they were all beat up, so I had to rebox it. And so I was over at Sun Distributing, and I bought some boxes off of them. This was years ago, when they were pretty new too. So I bought some boxes off of them, and they were dumb expensive. When you think about when you think about the cost of a box, it's what? It's probably free. No, it was $20 to $25, something like that, for a top and a bottom. That was just because quantities. It was in total, I think, no, it might have been less than that. It might have been $18 or something like that. But all the boxes together that I bought 10 long ones and then 10 short ones, and you have to buy tops and bottoms, and my bill was over $200 for all of that. And I was like, wait, what? They're like, yeah, boxes are expensive. I'm like, oh my God. And then on top of that, they're heavy. Picking up one box, no big deal. Put a stack of 10 of them together, and you're like, oh, this is some serious weight. And then start doing the math on inventory of just 100. Gets expensive. Are you still giving out the little chiselers? I think we're all out of them. How do you two-stage without getting creases? So it's not uncommon to get some little folds somewhere. Just depends on how tight the seals are. It's really how you address it. So if you see a little crease or something there, take a heat gun, warm up the sides, don't burn the trim, and then press it out with the back side of the tri-edge, a little chiseler, stuff like that. I've never had to redo a window over a two-stage. Would you prefer to tint for dealerships or glass shops? Depends on who is the better business, because there's pros to both of them. I've had better luck with good glass shops, but not all of them are good. So for example, there's one company called Symbol, and they have a shop out in Shelby, and their shop, and so I talked to my dad about this company. I was like, oh yeah, we're tinting over for Symbol, and they're awesome. And he's like, Symbol? Really? He's like, I've had nothing but problems with them. And I was like, oh, this one's way different, or this one's really, really good. And then I went to a couple of their other locations, because they had one in Pontiac, they had one out in Hazel Park. And then it was like, oh, I see exactly what he's talking about. So it just depends on who the owner is and the area that you're in. You can have good experiences at both types. There's a dealership out towards the Waterford area. That company that I tinted for, Tint Squad, they charged retail to the dealership. Dealership's really good. They basically have their own bay area that they can pull cars in. They're all good with the employees there, and they don't have any issues with them. And I think it's the last dealership that they tint for. And some other ones, like, we couldn't be bothered, like, salesperson couldn't be bothered to, like, give us keys to the car. So then you're, like, trying to track people down, and then you're like, where should I tint this? Dealership, oh, wow, that started getting choppy. I work for dealerships through Excel. Oh, so you're part of their, like, permaplate program? Because that was a weird acquisition that they did. Lumar owned a company called Permaplate. Oh, I don't know if it was Lumar. There's a company called Permaplate that used Lumar. I think that is what it was. And it was a dealership outfitting program. And they basically go into dealerships. They teach them how to run a plotter. And since all the cars are similar, all the problems are all similar and whatnot. So they load up. Thank you for that order, by the way. It's really nice. So oh my, why can't I tint today? There we go. What is that snagging? Oh, I haven't used this one yet. I haven't seen had a film do that one yet. It, like, jagged the top in a couple. It looked like little teeth marks. Glad I have enough room on the bottom. Let me do that one more time. So yeah, one day XPEL said that they bought Permaplate, and that was like, wait, they did what? So that was kind of weird. I make $17.50 an hour. It's flat rate. Tinting front two windows on an SUV. Get 1 hour of work. So a sedan, I get 2 hours. I'm barely making 40 for a whole sedan. So as a window tinter, your best bet is to go to other businesses with your skill if you want to make more money with it. I pay Jack $17 an hour right now to do all my orders and stuff. 17 an hour is like, it's not much. It's not much to, with a skill set like that. Like as a window tinter, you can tint out a set of doors for like $100 inside of like a half an hour. So that was kind of what I was leading up to. My issue with like that whole dealership program is like, you're taking a skill set and you're just, dealerships are making a ton of money off of it. And then, like they always do, they try and pay their people as little as possible. And they treat it, like so many businesses try and treat window tinting like mechanic work. It's not. I guess you can do a lot of things to try and make it easier, but I would take a day or two a week. Don't just quit. Take a day or two a week. Try and do your own thing somewhere else. And then you can work into it, because what you make in those couple days will start to outpace what you're making all week at the dealership. Fuck that. I wouldn't deal with that. And that's why they lose people. So many businesses underpay people. But it's definitely tough with tint shops. Some of them pay really well. Some of them don't. Just honestly, as being independent, the best money that I made was just tinting for other companies outside of a window tinting company. So it wasn't like, I made really good money tinting for a mobile company. But they didn't hardly make enough money to run their own business that way. So I had a good gig with them, so I'm not really talking about that one. But in most cases, like, you know, you have a car that comes in, when they sell it for $250, $350, that's a set cost. And as an installer, you want to make as much money as you can. So when you're looking at, oh, I can tint this many cars and make this much money, and oh, I'm only making 30% and the shop is making 70%. Well, the shop has a lot of expenses and stuff too, and window tint's their main business. Thank you. When you start tinting for companies where window tint isn't their main business, they have more money to pay people that tint for them because it's more of like an accessory on top of their business. So if you tint for a glass shop's main business is not window tinting. It's just like nice extra money.
The film trainer super chatted $9.99.
The film trainer? Is that Marco? Is that Marco? What's up, man? $10. Thank you. Dude, that's big. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Dude, okay. Congrats on the whole Matico thing. I saw that. I'm really happy. I'm really happy because I feel like things in window tinting are changing. And I've been like kicking and screaming for years about how far behind, like, I guess we're kind of coming up on that 5 years. I say window tinting is 5 years behind every other industry. And so not everybody, like a lot of people here are just, I get it, window tinting, we're all trying to tint cars and stuff like that. What's been really frustrating for me on the creator side of things is seeing lots of missed opportunities. And then when I talk to people in charge that can make change and do fun things, it's like you're pulling teeth trying to explain it to them, and they just don't get it. When you're like, hey, YouTube, lots of people watch YouTube. Maybe you should do something on YouTube. They're like, they don't take it seriously because nobody else is doing it. They're like, nobody in the window film space was doing it. And so it's just like this, like, yeah, okay, booth, let's do a booth at a conference. They love that. And there's pros to some of that, but it's just like your year-round reach. Nobody's talking about you, bro. So when I saw Marco get picked up by Matico, I was like, I think some of these companies are starting to get it. Autobahn was doing some stuff this past year, which is cool to see. They came back from Tinter battles, and they're like, we're gonna Mr. Beast this year. And I'm just starting to hear and see little things across more than one company now. It's like, people are getting spicy. Okay, like real talk. Real talk. Companies, if you're listening. Why are you gonna spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on a booth that's around for 2 or 3 days and not try and build something that's a little bit longer where you could literally throw less money at something else? I don't get it. I don't get it. But hey, you got a booth, and other companies do booths, so that's a good thing. Do you have pinch rollers in the middle of the film? Yeah, because I filed it, but I'm told not to do that, or not to tell people that. So, yeah, on plotters, you're supposed to just use an outside roller on each side, but you can file down the grip rollers a little bit, and then you can use all the rollers and not put imprints in your film. But that being said, once you do that, there's no going back. So I have to use all the rollers. I tried using 2, and it looked like it's starting to slip. So one of their guys told me that I could do it, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. And then, then I learn about it later on, so. grain of salt on that one. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. How much room do I have on this? Oh my God. You came back from vacation and now you're plotting. You must be new here. Here, let's do this. I'm gonna start with these back quarters. Thank you. All right.
Yay, well, super chatted $9.99. 100% facts. Had my 2022 4Runner tinted twice in a month BC. I didn't like the quality, so started watching you videos. Redid it myself and few friends' cars. Think about making it a part-time business.
I like your username. Yeah, well. I feel like I've said that so many times in my life. Like, that's broken. Yeah, well, Thank you so much for the 10. Had my 22 4Runner tinted twice in a month because I didn't like the quality, so I started watching your videos, redid it myself. Damn! And a few friends' cars. Dude, you wouldn't believe how many businesses start out that way. Like, I tinted my car, and then I tinted some friends' cars. That is a hard hurdle to get over. And you could absolutely just, like, do it on the weekends, and then next thing you know, that is your main business. That's cool. I would definitely put some time, you know, like a day or two a week, go, these are my tint days, and then just have fun with those days. Good money on the side, and then you can really get a feel for, like, hey, if I were really to, like, and then 2 days, and then 3 days, and then next thing you know, you're like, holy shit, I gotta shop. That's how you could really work into it off of that. It's cool. But yeah, I like film companies, a lot of them are just, there's a lot of meetings and hurdles, and they don't really pay attention. But what's cool now is I think enough companies are now starting to do some stuff that they're all looking at everybody else. And what I underestimated was companies have like a herd mentality. You have people that are near the top, and they get complacent, they do their own things, and they can't be bothered to really try a whole lot of different things unless they're getting, like, you know, they're just got that right person running the business. Or, you know, they start smelling their competition catching up, and that's when they really start getting like, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. What can we do? And by that time, they're a little out of touch, so then they got to play catch up. And so I feel like so many companies are out of touch and now starting to see what other companies are doing and getting talked about. And now they're all going to start getting antsy over the next couple years especially. You're going to see a big change, which I'm very excited for. Literally started because I drive trucks. My main job is an owner operator. Trucking is slow, so I went home thinking of another business to do. Or I have a mobile detailing business, so Tint just fell in line. Oh, that's awesome. Good job. My current job, I work 14 days on, 14 days off. I have the room, the shop, and space to do it. Dude, that's super cool. So many people don't even have space. It's 100% worth a try. Carpet shield to protect the doors. Do you do any flat glass at all? You know, what's funny about flat glass is, if you asked me that question about 2 months ago, no, I don't do flat glass, and I'm still not really gonna do a flat glass business. But here's an interesting thing. Flat glass, I looked into it pretty hard while I was on the other side of the world for a month. And I'm just kind of shocked with how many opportunities there are for flat glass. Like, somebody in my group asked me, would you guys start auto? If you were to start a tint business, would you focus on auto or flat glass? Honestly, my suggestion is flat glass. Flat glass is super profitable. It's easier to get into. It's easier to train people for. It's easier to scale. You're going to make more money doing it. Flat glass, 100%. And everybody that's doing auto right now is like, what the fuck, man? I just learned how to shrink a back window. Well, I've been doing cars all my life, and I like staying in my garage. But, so, like I said, if you asked me a couple months ago, my opinion wouldn't have been as strong. But, yeah, most people are charging anywhere from like $8 to $15 on flat glass a square foot. So that's literally a square foot, $8 to $15. Measure all your glass. Multiply the flat glass, and then you have your numbers. So why is that? Like, why aren't more people doing flat glass then? Well, the biggest hurdle is just like you have to go to people's houses and you have to bid jobs, and it's a lot more salesperson type of job than it is like physical labor. Like, there's labor in it, but it's a lot more like, hey, howdy. Yes, let me show you some samples. And you got to go in their home, and you got to put on little footies so you don't mark up their carpets, and you got to be respectful. And like most tinters kind of just get into window tinting like, oh, I dropped out of school and I like cars. So I started tinting, or I want to, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not as clear cut of an industry. So you see way more people getting into cars than flat glass. It kind of reminds me of those vacuum salesmen. Yeah, exactly. So, but I think something's going to happen with flat glass this year. I don't, should I make an announcement? I don't know that much about it. GeoShield is throwing a flat glass event in June in New Orleans, and I think I'm going to be there. So they're doing a flat glass thing for all their dealers because they really want to kickstart flat glass for all their dealers, and it's really that barrier. It's just flat glass sounds like an interesting opportunity. I don't know how to get started. I haven't done flat. There's those little intimidation things. Like, not big, but just like I'm more comfortable in my garage than going to somebody's house. I feel, a couple people, I feel attacked. I dropped out of school and liked cars, now I tint. Well, see, I know my demo. Hey, you know what? I went to aviation mechanics school. I graduated, but I didn't actually get my AMP license. I didn't take that test because I didn't want to pay the money knowing that I was going to keep tinting. So, in a sense, I dropped out of school too. Flat glass is awesome. The hard part for me is finding jobs. Yep. So that's its own type of business. It's very salesman-y. It's you have to be creative about getting work, and it's not a world I'm super familiar with because, like, I'm not a contractor running from house to house, like pouring driveways or doing decks. Like, it's very in line with stuff like that. So honestly, like, maybe some interesting angles is start, like, now having explored a lot of contractor spaces for stuff for my own house. Dude, it's such a cluster. If you want to get like a deck done for your house, like you have a salesman come out, or you go to a place and you talk to them. Like, a handful of them got back to us like 5 days after we put an inquiry in, and you don't know their workmanship. They show you some pictures and whatnot. And I'd imagine the space is very similar for flat glass. There's probably just less companies doing it. So I think the real thing is not as many homeowners realize that they can tint their house. So I think that whole space could use a whole lot of everything. Like as much attention as auto gets, house tint online gets maybe like 1/10 of that, probably less. So one way to maybe branch out is contacting other businesses that have like associated businesses, because here's the thing. We had a paver company and do like a path alongside our driveway. They don't do decks. Well, they recommended a deck company to us. They're like, if you're gonna have any company come out, I would use these people. And I wouldn't have contacted that company otherwise. But we had them come out to our house, and they sound really nice and everything. So we're probably gonna go with them. And just like similar situations, it's a lot of networking. So if somebody is going to do carpet in like a brand new home, or sorry, hardwood floors or whatever, in a brand new home, well, maybe they do other things, or you contact a home builder, and it's ways that they can add on another thing and sell the job, or at least bid the job for you, or whatever, like introduce you to the people. Next thing you know, they get a commission off of selling the job, and then you have more work to do, and then that neighborhood sees you tinting the house, and then starts asking neighbors, and that's how you build that network. You put that little sign out by the road saying you just tinted their house. Stuff like that. So that's 100. You want to know how we even got our lawn done at our house? Is because the lawn guy was in the neighborhood doing other people's lawns, and like, oh, he did a good job on their lawn. I guess he's going to do a good job on our lawn. I think that's how a lot of that business works. Yeah, so with flat glass, you 100% have energy savings. Scary part about flat glass is some films can't be applied. Yeah. So I looked into that, and I'm a lot more well-educated thanks to this one YouTube channel that I unfortunately forgot the name of. With flat glass, it's all about heat absorbing into the glass. So if you have windows facing the sun, they get a lot of heat. The darker you go, the more likely that glass is to crack. So you need films, all the architectural films are basically reflective. So they reflect heat away from the windows rather than absorb it into the windows. So with a lot of windows, you can only go so dark, and then you just have to do a quick check to make sure where their low E coating is on the window too. Not hard stuff to do, just when you start to understand those concepts, then it makes it a lot easier, because if they're low E coating, like dual pane windows, 2 pieces of glass, so you have 4 surfaces. You have the outside surface, the inside surface, the outside surface, and the inside surface. If your low E coating, I think, is on this surface right here, then what happens if when you tint the inside of the window, the heat comes in, bounces off your tint, hits that low E coating, and gets trapped in the window. So in that case, you would have to use an exterior film. But in a lot of cases, you're just using interior films. So you learn those few things. Your installations on average are going to be way easier. I'm not trying to sell you guys flat glass, because I don't do it on my own business. And the reason for that is because I like my cave. I'm just saying there is a lot of opportunity there. So something's going to be done about flat glass this year. I was just really surprised. I always like looking into different industries and stuff and seeing where things are at. And when I have my head in auto, and I've had it in there for so long, and then all of a sudden I'm like, for a month, started looking into flat glass, and then I'm just like, why haven't I done anything with flat glass yet? Commercial buildings? Oh, yeah, 100%. So I mentioned people's houses. The real money, and where you're going to have more established, bigger companies, because it's just the nature of things, is going to be architectural. So tinting hotels, tinting skyscrapers, bidding multi-million-dollar jobs, $100,000 jobs. Like, you have a lot of, when you own a hotel, saving costs on running that hotel, like doing flat glass is, or doing tint on your glass is a no-brainer because you just have a giant building and you're running air conditioning and you're running heat and you just slam dunk energy savings on that. Makes all the sense in the world. A few different people. Some people saying that they really love doing reverse rolling and when like flat glass is really enjoyable. Other people saying they like staying in their caves. I agree with that. I totally appreciate staying in my cave. I still get a little antsy every time a customer comes in. I've just been with the cars for so long. But yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to everything. So just from a pure business perspective, there is missed opportunity across the board with flat glass. Lot of opportunity there. So my main thing that I was kind of looking into was flat glass training, I think. That was like one main idea that came out of there. That was a pretty easy thing to come up with. But there's another thing that I'm kind of thinking about too that I might do. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely playing around with some options and stuff. I think I'm going to shrink this just a little bit. Probably don't need to, but these little guys, and take care of those little guys. $20 to $30 a square foot with security film because of the caulking. That's some cool stuff. So for those of you that don't know, security films, because like smash and grabs on lots of stores, they happen. So imagine, like, I think I literally just saw like was it AT&T store? The Tint Institute. They had a short little video. AT&T store, they were reapplying security film to the door window because everybody has glass windows on their building. Imagine you're a store like that. You have lots of phones, lots of electronics in there, a quick smash and grab. What's the cost on protecting all that from happening versus the cost on replacing all of that lost equipment? And then you see like commercial spaces, they do security films. And then also another thing is anti-graffiti films, because certain areas of certain cities just have people marking up windows, just like etching words and crap. And imagine you can't do anything about it. Or you go up to it and you just peel a layer off and it's gone. How much does flat glass tint cost? It depends. It's more expensive. Why such high cost per square feet? I don't know. That's one thing I legitimately don't know. Supply and demand, probably. Certain flat glass films are expensive. So especially when you get into the thicker security films and stuff, that is going to get more expensive. But I don't know. I saw some dual reflective films that were like talking like a 36 by 100 foot roll, which for flat glass, you're going to need something wider typically. But like just to put it in terms of auto, Sun Distributing had one for like $300. So you have to order rolls per job. Generally, that's how a lot of people do it. They don't keep as much of an inventory unless you're a big company and you just want stuff on hand. If you're more of an auto shop, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna bid a job. You're gonna show them samples, and it's not as fast paced as cars are, where it's like, yeah, let's get it in. I've got all the films. Let's go. With flat glass, it could be, hey, I'm going to run out to your house. We're going to do some samples. We're going to figure out what you like, put a deposit on the job, and then schedule a date to install the film. So it's not going to take you long to get the film, but there is going to be a little bit of a window there, but it's more of a back and forth process. And this is also something that, like, if you're doing a house, you're talking about, like, what, maybe $2,000 to $3,000 to tint the house. It's not just a quick, like, impulse decision from the homeowners. They might call a couple different companies, and then it's more about who looks the most professional, who's got a good rate, and who do I trust to come into my home and take care of my house. The way to do flat glass is you do a quote, give the quote, and tell the client deposit is 50% of the job cost. You use that deposit to buy all the film, and once the job is done, you get the rest of the money. That sounds like a great way to do it. You know, it's like getting a house painted. The person painting the house is probably going to want to deposit on all that paint that they got to buy. And if they buy a bunch of paint, I mean, some places you probably can't return it. So with flat glass, it just depends on your supplier. But in a lot of cases, you do what you can to make sure that the client is serious. So I do that with automotive. I take deposits on every job that I do here. I've been doing that for a long time. Because there's so many flaky people, call around to a handful of shops, schedule more than one appointment, and show up to whichever one is the most convenient and the cheapest. And that is not my client. So, especially when you're buying a lot of material, you don't want to be screwed over with that. Take a deposit, 100%. So, another thing is just while we're spitballing about flat glass, like, what's a good way to get into it? How do I start getting flat glass customers when I have an auto shop? I would just start putting the word out to your automotive people. And they all live in houses. Or, like, they all live somewhere with windows, generally speaking. Somebody's probably going to want them tinted eventually, especially when they took their car to you and they like the work that you did. Then introducing people, your current client base, into flat glass is a good way to start branching out. There's a flat glass film called V-Cool. It's like super ceramic, but it's 70% clear. It's meant for flat glass, so it sews well, but costs more of how invisible it is. Yep. GeoShield has a lot of flat glass, films. V-Cool, I just saw a podcast with CoolView that sounded pretty interesting. They've got like this whole interesting like franchising model. And the interesting thing about that was like, it's like $80,000 or something for a franchise, and it's like, whoa, that's expensive. And what they said is like, there's lots of finance companies that are geared to finance franchising things because it's more of a secure thing. You're going into it with a business plan, and you have a company supporting you with all the training and stuff. So they signed up, I think, 40 franchises last year. For flat glass, that type of stuff makes way more sense. Like, because imagine how many people that are not in the window film industry that could start a flat glass business just because it's easier to get a handle on the actual install. It's just a different type of business. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was on vacation, but man, I had some time. So whenever I have time like that, I love researching this type of stuff. So I learned a whole lot about it while I was gone. Just kind of went down that whole rabbit hole. Like, if you ask me what different types of flat glass films there were before I went on vacation, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Now that I'm back, I'm like, oh, these are, so you're going to have like a silver reflective, you're going to have a dual reflective, you're going to have a bronze, you're going to have some clear ceramics, and that's the majority of the flat glass films. Or there are frost, there are more interior geared things too. But as far as like just the exterior energy saving stuff like that, those are going to be the majority of what people are getting. Honestly, dual reflective is like the most popular. For businesses, the silver reflective seems to be a little bit more cost effective, and a lot of them will do that. But people like the tinted look on their homes. I would. I'd probably do mine with like a 50%, a 35 or a 50. We're not bombarded by sun, so we like the sunshine in our house, but doing like a 50% would probably be pretty damn good. I need samples though. I would do both. I'd put up some samples and make a decision. See, I'm the homeowner. I gotta see. I'm not even sure what I would do on my own home. I know cars. I wonder if you get set up with DB Surf because your government building's all the. I don't know. One last thing that I can think of right now was like, while I was doing my research, the government, so the U.S. government gives a $1,200 tax credit. They upped it from like $500 or $800. So there's like an energy savings window film tax credit to people that get their homes tinted. Like, so that's even like, oh shit, that's awesome. I say all this while tinting a car. I'm not changing my business. I'm just looking a lot into it. It's a lot of fun. I love different businesses and stuff. I've done 5% on a few garages now. Quote, I want limo on my garage. Oh, that's cool. You know, I would love frosted windows. I don't have windows on my garage door. I would love a frosted window look on it. It looks so good. Training in flat glass is easy because you just buy different types of windows and you can have them all in one spot rather than have to tint multiple types of cars. Yeah, with cars, they always take up a lot of space. Flat glass would be pretty cool. One cool idea is, so GeoShield told me to go ahead with this, but like I still, I got to plan it out a little bit. This wall here, I've got a lot of space. It would be super cool to basically make this wall kind of look like a house, and then do like lots of flat glass windows there, have that wall set up for it, and then also have some like roller stands with lots of flat glass windows as well. It'd be really cool. Have you had any beef tappa? Dude, I had a lot of beef tappa. No. Tocino. I had way more tocino. I had tappa a handful of times. Probably not as much as I should have. It was like, oh my God, all Filipino food every day. So like it was all really good. And like especially, what is it, sisig? Or there's one that's like, it's got mayo on it that's not, like, so it's fried and then coated in mayo, which is, oh yeah, super healthy for you. Dinikdakan, I think is what it's called. That is really good too. It's like sisig, but just a little bit different. That was all really good. But we, like here, we've got a car and we drive to a lot of places, so we'll often like, not going to cook today. Let's just go find some food. So we'll do that so many times, and then fast food is open later, so you end up getting a pizza or doing fast food later. We didn't do that, like, at all there. It was all, like, eating at home. We went out to, like, Jollibee or Chowking a couple of times just to kind of, like, get out. But most of it was, like, my wife's mom cooked a lot of the food, so it was just kind of like she always had stuff there, so we'd just kind of eat there at home. Dinnick yeah. Oh my God, that stuff is good. That's dark film. It's Tint Depot's 2%. They sent it to me like a while ago. But I haven't had anybody that wanted to go super, super dark. So this is the first one. They wanted double window tint or double limo. And I'm like, I got this 2%. What do you charge for a windshield in carbon versus ceramic? I'm guessing $199 for carbon, $299 for ceramic. You are almost spot on. I do $200 for carbon, and I do $250 for ceramic. So part of that really comes from windshields are a big addition. Oh, what am I? Oh, yeah, I gotta prep this. Windshields are a big addition to any job. So I do $290 for all the sides and the rear. I do an additional like $150 for the windshield. And so if somebody wants to go with a windshield, and then it's, I mean, this is a little bit salesy here, $150, $200, $250. You kind of price ladder things a little bit, but it's also really good film. So like, hey, I gotta run a business too. So that's why it's kind of priced that way. It's like, it's $50 more to get a better film. Any good company is going to do that. Did you try Apex 50% not windshield film? Man, you know what? I was supposed to, and they sent it to my old house. I went there and I rang the doorbell, and nobody answered. I did that yesterday because I checked the tracking. So they sent it to the wrong place. Somebody got a real good film showing up on their door. Bay Dollar? Dude, I've seen some of your videos. Shane, you too. You had the best bad window tinter video. No, you've had some good videos too. But Bay Dollar too. I've seen, you've posted a lot of your progress in the Facebook group, man. I enjoy seeing the update. Dude, I will say this time and time again. It is not about the size of the space that you have, which you actually have a pretty decent sized space, but it didn't look that great when you moved in there. And oh my God, it's so nice now. You do not need a big, impressive space. You just need to make it look good, and you can make a home garage look good. Your shop looks awesome. Epoxy floors, walls, lighting, all the stuff that you put on the wall. It looks really, really good. That's cool to see. With C2, I do them for $150. I have this thing where I do 50% or $35 in the windshield and I add 12-inch strip for $200. Nice. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. I never bring up windshield strips. Why do I just don't like them. Not like I don't like the look of them. I just don't want to do a windshield strip. But if you're asking me, then yeah, no problem. I can, like, it's not even that big of a deal. It's just like there's something about a windshield strip that's like, But yeah, doing literally an extra $50 for the strip on that, adding it, that's good. Yeah, that's great. That's literally like my dyed films to my carbon upgrade or carbon to ceramic. Yeah, absolutely. Those things are good. So that's what makes window tinting pricing a little tricky sometimes, because it's nice to say like, oh, you know, I get $350 for a windshield. That's great. But at the same time, if I'm selling a job at $450 for ceramic, and then I hit them with like literally almost a full ticket just to do the windshield extra, my clients are not gonna do that. But if you make it a little more obtainable and you have some ways to kind of eke it up, then it's a nice thing to add. So it just depends on the area you're in, your clientele, a number of factors. I will say I definitely undersell myself sometimes though, because I used to be at like $240 for a full car, and then I would like not all the time talk about carbon and ceramic, and then Nick would sell it over the phone, and I'd be like, "How you did it?" And he said, "I just said it was better." I'm like, "Oh." I also do a suicide strip with a strip on the bottom. Oh, I saw a bajillion of those in the Philippines. What is the appeal? I think it's goofy, but I can respect, like, hey, people are paying for them. Let's go. Why do truckers like them? I'd imagine it, like, is it just the look, or does it actually have some sort of, like, functionality? Because I didn't really seem to do anything. We had so when we went to some places in the Philippines, we hired a driver, because driving in there is fucking crazy. And we didn't actually own a car, so you pay a driver, and he takes his vehicle. As a truck, oh. Oh my God, that's so smart then. I like that answer. Thank you. It makes way more sense now. As a trucker, light bounces off the hood and it cuts down on all that glare. Oh my God. That's amazing. Yep, I 100% can respect him now. I would do that. If I had a truck, 100%. I've only ever thought about passenger vehicles, and it's like, you're fine. But on a big truck like that, a lot of times your cabs are white. Yeah, I'm not driving semis, so thanks for that. Have you... Have you listened to Alex Harmoni's books, $100 Million Offers? He made me think charging 99s for a full. Okay, so I haven't seen that one, but I've definitely talked to certain people. I've never done it, so I have a lot of like personal just gut reactions to it. I think in every area there's somebody, like in most areas. So if you're in like a relatively dense city area and there's people with money, I think you could do it. But that's when you go out into lesser dense areas, probably not near as much. So like an interesting case for that was, if you guys ever heard of Mike Norn down in Texas. I think he's in the Houston area. He's got AFS. They're like very big, really nice space. He said one day he started just charging $500 a job. He just like literally overnight changed his pricing. And he started getting so many nicer cars. And I will 100% say, yeah, absolutely. I've noticed when you charge certain prices, you attract certain people. But I have also talked to some people that charge a premium, and they've had to really grind through slow times, telling a lot of people no, they don't charge that, like they charge a lot, and they got, you know, they didn't get a lot of business. It was a grind. So I think that just depends on who has money in your area, how you do your networking, and sticking to your guns on your pricing. So I think it absolutely can work. Yes, that's a big one. That is a big, big, big one. Mike explains, makes it more realistic. No, it's possible. Charging so high allows you to offer so much more and reinvest into growing your company. 100%. If you're trying to really make things affordable for your customers, you don't have money to reinvest in your own business. You have your own bills to pay. You need your own slush fund. So if things get slow, you still got money to pay your bills. And then on top of that, like, I just, worked so long to make this money, I don't want to spend it. If all of a sudden you have a surge of money, then it's like, well, I've got money coming in, I can make a better experience for everybody and do things that is just like kind of outrageous. So it's not about just making small margins on what you're doing. I mean, you can run your business that way for sure. Like, everybody's going to run it their way. But when you all of a sudden have extra money to throw at your business, yeah, you can do some way cool stuff and think outside the box. Do cool displays. Like, I didn't do my showroom for the first year. It looked scary to people. I'm around the back corner of the building, and then they come in, and then they look at, like, dingy walls, dingy lighting, and, like, old carpet floors, and they go, but I put most of the money into this area right here. I still could do a lot to improve this space right now. But the area up front, then one day, we started making some more money. We had a little bit of a slow streak, and rather than be scared about it being a little slow, is like, we got some extra money to make the showroom better. So then we ended up putting things basically on hold for a week, which it was, like I said, it was slow anyway, so it didn't really impact it that much. And then we redid the front room, and now I'm, like, super proud of it. When I put money into doing this floor, this was, like, a big expense. But I was like, I think changing my floor, like, there's no way to quantify it. But then at my home garage, I had nothing but compliments about this floor. They're just like, whoa. You can, like, any space, you can make it super cool. So doing little things like that is awesome. Charging so high to pay your installers, or allows you to pay your installers more, allowing 2 to 4 guys, 1 car, allowing it to be so in and out 30 minutes or less. Yep, other things like that. Yep, efficiency is huge. 2 quality installers working on 1 car, making everything faster. They're getting paid well. They're happy. They're staying busy. Yeah, everything. Like, think of how many avenues. When I have to contact every customer, I will look at all the other things that I do. When you can get back to people fast, like, one thing is I have Jack helping with the orders. I was so happy with one of the posts I saw where somebody posted about one of their orders, excited to try it out, and there was a handful of comments underneath that, and everybody, like, the only comments under it were like, the stuff came way faster than I thought it would. And if it was all up to me doing it, their order would have sat for a couple days before getting it out. I used to let them stack up for a couple days because I had other stuff going on. I didn't let it sit for too long. But now Jack is here every day, and when orders come in, minus Saturday, every day during the week, the orders go out. So it's fast. Maybe I should have him come in on Saturdays now, too. That's how I am with my floor in my house. I always have to talk about it. Yeah, and it's like, it's a floor. Like, just at face value, how much value is a floor going to bring? But then when you actually put it in, you live with it, and you have it, it's like, man, this really makes a space. There's always some unknown factor into professionalism and investing in making your every aspect of your business better. And some of the things are easy to quantify, like, oh, if I get this ceramic film and I charge this amount, this is how much money I'm going to make. But one thing that's hard to say is like, hey, I could drive my Altima into work every day and try and sell examples off of that, or I could spend more money on a nicer car and then I could sell off of that. Am I going to get more ceramic jobs off of it? I have. But you don't get that money unless you charge for it, and you got to work your way into doing that. Studio Maserati. Let's go. No, but I did see Teslas. Like, I entertained the idea. I don't think it actually makes sense for us, but Tesla's just dropped like 20% in price, and I'm like, I have no interest in getting a Tesla. I really don't. And then I'm like, but there's just something about Tesla and the Tesla crowd that if you have one of those, it's just like the Apple crowd. There's a culture there. And I've done quite a few at this point. So to have that as a demo car would be way interesting. But I think we're more concerned with getting like a family van at this point. How much for 2 front windows? Right now I'm charging $120. 120 for the fronts, 160 for carbon, and 200 for ceramic. How many Model 3s do you want to be bombarded with? Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, I don't. What do you think about Avery? Okay, so their NR, it's a great entry-level film. Everything else falls off, I think. Unless they've updated their current lineup at this point. But when I was using it, their carbon, so it wasn't carbon, it was, no, it was a carbon dyed hybrid, which unfortunately doesn't make any sense. Because when you do like half the amount of carbon and you splice it in with dye, it really doesn't make enough performance difference to matter. You got to go like all carbon in on your film, and there's so many films that do that now. But the NR used that for a while. I really like that. It's got a pretty tacky adhesive too, though. So Avery all day long, I think, for their vinyls, from what I hear. But window film, they got some growing up they need to do. I was doing Avery. Oh, that's the edge of the film. Okay. I was doing Avery NR, and then when I was looking to do my own shop out of my home garage, I was looking for a nice upgrade path. I like the color on that 2%. That's just dyed. No, this is actually carbon. This is a carbon 2%. But yeah, it looks really, really clean. Usually when you get super dark, you could see some real funkiness with colors because there's so much in it. Yeah, this has just a nice, good window tint tone to it. Just a, you know, it doesn't lean very heavy in any directions. Been doing XPEL for years and thought about offering a cheaper option. Avery was excellent. Just never found anything on their tint. Okay. That's. Let me give you a couple recommendations. So if you're just thinking of, like across the board with like a dyed carbon and ceramic line, I mean, my opinion on that is like Geo, but I don't think Geo needs to be any less expensive than XPEL. They'll go toe-to-toe with them all day long. And like some of these other ones, but physically saving some extra money on some rolls. Helios Orbit from Sun Distributing. That's going to be a color stable dyed film. That's very similar to Pro Classic. That would be an interesting one too. Pick up, because when you get into brands, it like something like that, it gets more difficult for brands. So like NR, you would be okay. Helios Orbit, you would be okay. And I just don't know. See, I don't buy Suntech, so I don't know where their pricing's at. And like some of these other companies, like, because usually with the more expensive or the more known brands, you start getting like that brand costs money. And that's one reason you're attracted to it. But if you're just taking like a film at face value, that's where you start looking into like some of the lesser known companies that still have really good films. That's where that would make a little bit more sense. In the future, do you see yourself doing tint still or getting into something else like wrap? No, I'm settled in. I am so maybe flat glass. But what I always have to learn is like other things associated with my business, with my website, with YouTube. So like I'm constantly having to dive into that stuff. As far as just picking up an extra skill, I always thought like some of the associated film services like paint protection film, which I've done before, or vinyl wrapping would be like a really good crossover for the channel. Anytime I've done a video on it, it's performed really poorly. People watch this channel for tint, so it's strictly be for the business, and I don't have that kind of time anymore to dedicate into learning a whole nother skill like that. I've always, I've really come to appreciate too specializing in a skill rather than being like pretty good at a handful of other ones. So like if I'm looking to bring vinyl wrapping into the shop, I'll learn enough to get busy enough and started with it. But in order to make money with it, I need somebody else to do it, because if I trade off between from one service to another, they all help make some money that kind of adds up to be a similar amount. You really can scale your business when you have other people that are dedicated to that skill, because they have the dedicated time to do it. It took me too long to understand that, because we were bringing in paint protection film at my dad's shop, and so he brought in a film rep for like 3 to 5 days, and like they taught us how to do PPF, and then, you know, had a lot of mistakes, but did pretty well overall. I've probably done about 25 PPF jobs at this point. You know, bumpers, half hoods, some full hoods, lots of front pieces, but I'm like way out of practice at this point. The thing about paint protection film is like it's kind of relaxing. It was nice to be able to focus on one car for the day, but it's still its own skill that takes a lot of time. So they would have me do paint protection film, and they wouldn't slow down the window tint appointments, because as a shop, why would you? Like, hey, we're not doing other skills to make the same amount of money. So we have this PPF job, we have this window tint job. So I'd go and I'd do PPF, and then I'd jump back over and I'd do window tint. Then I'd have to stay late and do more PPF. And it was just like I'm putting in more hours, and I'm making basically the same amount of money. And then, you know, if I screw up a kit, that's really expensive to have to reorder a piece. Or, you know, we did have a plotter, but we had so many friggin' issues cutting our PPF kits on our plotter at the time that eventually we just started ordering kits. And then when you mess up a hood or a fender, or you gotta redo a mirror, then you gotta wait another like 2 friggin' days to get it. Yeah, it was not super fun in the end. Especially because they always treated it like I can do that and window tinting at the same time. And I would try and explain, you know, after I did a couple of jobs, I'm like, hey, I need the time to actually focus on this PPF job. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. And then they look at the numbers and they're like, well, we got this extra tint job. You can do that real quick, thanks. And then the customer's calling about the PPF job, and then they hit you up. They're like, why isn't that PPF job done? I'm like, remember for the past 2 days when you had me doing nothing but window tinting? They're like, oh, so how quick can you have that PPF job done? 2% on the windshield, too. No, we're actually not touching the windshield. All the sides in the back. I have 2 doors and a windshield I got to do after this one, but I'm still so jet lagged. I'm gonna focus on that one. What is this 2%? So this is Tint Depot's carbon shield 2%. This client wanted to double up limo, so I pulled out the 2%. And if it's not dark enough, I said I will tint over the front doors again, because there's 20% and now 2% on the back, both together, and then you have 2% on the front. So if they have a vehicle, they did double 5 on it, they really like it. As a shop, it's kind of tricky. In most cases, I think it's probably fine. And so it's just like, maybe I should just take my chances. But if you have a window peel, then you got to double tint it. So it's not really something that you can warranty, and then it becomes expensive to then replace too, unless you have some sort of like deal. So it makes things a little tricky to figure out. Unless you're just like one of those shops that are like, yeah, fuck it. They wanted double limo. I had the 2% roll here. Have you ever done double ceramic? No. No, actually I haven't. You should have just used blackout film. So I know from the windshield video where I did 2% or 2.5%, 2 layers of 5%, 2 layers of 2.5%, and 3 layers of 2.5%. You can still see through it. It's really hard to see through 3 layers of 2.5% though. But you can still do it. Blackout film, you just can't see through anymore. I did suggest too, they didn't do anything on the windshield. So if it seems lighter on the front doors, I mean, the windshield lets a lot of light in and bounces off the interior, and you have such a contrast between the front doors and a clear windshield that it's definitely worth adding something to the windshield if it seems light to you. But I did tell them if they want to do another layer on the front doors, just let this settle in, and then we'll add a layer to the front doors. And then we could do like a layer of 20, and then it would match the back. So might have to do that still, but this way we stick with one film. Tint's made to stick to glass. So I would rather point them in a tint solution rather than just try and take a chance. So hopefully this is, that's pretty damn dark, dude. We'll sit in it. Let me sit back here, then we can really see. All right. So this is 2% over the factory, so that's pretty damn dark. And then we look at the front, and it's going to be a little bit lighter because that's only the 2%, but it's still really damn dark. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Dark on the outside, clear on the inside. I think they really like the way that it would look dark on the inside. Part of it's privacy, the other part is just like, they just like the dark look on the inside too. $12.40. All right, so we did pretty good on this one. Nothing on the sunroof? No, it was just all the sides and the back. We didn't. They didn't want to do anything on the windshield and nothing on the sunroof. It was just all about doing all the sides. All right. Cool. Canon. Oh, I forgot to do that one. Oh, we didn't use it anyways. Why are people under the assumption that ceramic means it's clear from the inside? Because people made TikTok videos and said that's the case. And there's lots of people that know nothing about window tint. And when they see that, I want that. That's how people work. That's how marketing works. We're all in the tint world, so we understand how this works. Lots of people are not. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. And there's a lot of people that just don't know anything about it because there's tons of things I don't know about either. So you constantly have to have the same type of information reintroduced to people over and over and over because everybody is always going to be learning something else. Hello, Tint Studio. How can I help you? Yeah, we're open today. We're just all booked up. Let me check the schedule. What kind of vehicle? Okay. So it would start at $290 for all the sides and the rear. The earliest that I could get it done is going to be Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no problem. Yep, have a good one. Can I think about it for a little bit? You know what that means? That means no thank you. That's a polite way of saying no thank you, I don't want to wait. I just say that. I just say, yep, I got that. It's our most expensive option. Yeah, so what's kind of funny about Tint is And this is something I didn't realize. When the average person sees that vehicle right there and they can't see in it, they think it's that dark to see out of it. Well, all your light source is on the outside. That's so wherever you're sitting and you see through to your light source, your films are gonna appear lighter. When you're on the outside and it's all dark in the cabin, that's why it looks darker. It's blocking out all that light. So that's why tint works really well for cars, and there's no magical tricks there. So, but what somebody did was, ceramic started making its way. Somebody started saying, like, ceramic tint, dark on the outside, clear on the inside. That's just how all tints are. Obviously, the darker you go, they get a little darker to see through. But because they said ceramic and then that trend blew up, people don't know, and then they just start calling around. But what was cool about it, people are asking about ceramic. People that had never gotten their cars tinted were asking about tint. It's good all around. I didn't realize how crazy that trend was, though, because you could see it like, these people are so dumb. But you have people that know nothing about tint calling you about tint, and then you have the opportunity to talk to them about it and schedule them. That's super cool. I don't get why some people are so impatient like that. They're calling second specialists. It's just how people are. When they decide that they want to spend some money, all of a sudden that money is burning a hole in their pocket. I mean, when I decide to make a purchase on a laptop or a phone or whatnot, I have very little loyalty to any one company because they all sell the same thing. So with a lot of people, so many tint shops, they sell tint. I don't know anything about tint. So I'm going to go around and just find who can do it the quickest and who can do it the cheapest. But when you have a little bit more of a disposable income too, sometimes like a lot of people then start being a little bit more particular because they know going the cheapest doesn't mean quality. It just means that they didn't spend a lot of money. So when they have a car that they then, bought that they care about, then they're going to be a little bit more particular about the money that they're spending on it or where they take that car to. So when you charge a little bit more, you actually attract those types of people, where when you don't charge a lot, you actually kind of weed out higher customer bases because they're just not going to shop you because you're the cheap place. They don't want to go to the cheap place. There's a reason why there's high-end everything. There's people that just won't even shop cheap because they're just status or they prefer quality. Honestly, a lot of it's superficial. But there are certain things that when you at least go to the tier above cheapest, you start getting a lot of little value things that you didn't necessarily think about. I started tinting my windows, just practicing. It's nowhere near perfect, but I've used your videos, learned lots, bought cheap tint, practice on, then get high quality tints. That's awesome. Like, imagine shopping paint. I don't know anything about paint. What paints am I supposed to buy? If I need white paint on my walls, this one's 50, this one's 40, they're both white. I don't know, it's in a bucket. I'll just buy the one that's 40 and save $10 and not think about it. Deal with the headaches later if it causes any. So tint is a lot like paint in that regards. Like, I'm having a guy do it. What's he going to charge me to do it? How can there be that many differences between tint? Because, if you just don't care, then you don't care. But I think it's art. Like, then it becomes the people that do it. If they see the value, like us, we do it. We see the value. Oh my God. Oh, that's why that was the way that was. Let's do that. I thought it was a little orange. I didn't know where the remote was. Thought it was a little yellow. I'm more pale than that. Tint is like paint in the regard that if you buy cheap, the first time you regret it. But if it's white and it covers the walls and it does its job. And the interesting prop, too, is depends on the project that you're doing, but a lot of times you're not going to spend extra money to find out the differences between one thing or the other. You're just going to, spend money on the one thing, and if it was decent enough, then you're going to rebuy that one thing where it is. I just have to give the Tesla back to the customer right now. I'm pretty mad I cannot get the shrink. Damn, that sucks. The Model 3 has a pretty big one if that's what you're working on. Would you buy a neon green Wagner if they made one? Oh, yeah, 100%. I bought a green heat gun, and it was terrible. But heat guns are very disposable, too, so I've never been interested in making a heat gun. And they're everywhere. It's not hard to find a heat gun. I did a lot of research into like heat guns, like how hot can they get. Seems like 1300 degrees is where they max out because most circuits are 15 amps or 20 amps. And so they don't want to make a heat gun that's going to make your circuit break. So, you know, because then you can't use it. So they really max out about 1300 degrees. There's a couple of them. I know Steinel, I forgot what the other brand was, but there's like a handful of them that go up that hot. Other than that, just get a torch. But, yeah. There's so many, like, what I didn't understand for a while is there's so many features on heat guns. So, like, I went out and got every Wagner, and the more expensive Wagner wasn't any better. And I was like, well, this is dumb. I thought it would get hotter, but when you're in, like, the $70, $80 range, you get little features like heat control and stuff like that, where these ones, you just turn them up all the way, and that's all we care about. We don't need heat controls. Did you call up DeWalt and collaborate? Do you have the Fusion heat gun? Yeah. I don't like it, though. It blows so much air. Like, it's different. It's just different. I've tried it side by side. I like the Wagner better. I have it. And I've done a comparison. 1 second. I think they dropped the price on that heat gun. It's been out for a handful of years. I bought it, but I got to return it because they sent me what looks like a used one and it's not working. I bought a Steinel one off of Amazon. One that was recommended to me by Elu. He makes the Tint Buster. He's like, there's one that is like $400, but there's another one that's like $180. And he's like, that one is the one to get. It's the best bang for your buck on that. It gets stupid hot. It saves you a little money on the 400 because there isn't much difference between the two. He's like, you should check that one out. And I think that's a good, like, if you're going to either buy a Wagner or you go up into a much more expensive tier. And I think 400 on something that honestly seemed kind of disposable is not something I was interested in. But 180 made a lot more sense. So I'll probably buy a couple of them, put one on each side. Watch my video on me butchering my family's car. Where did he say to get it? Oh, I just bought it off of Amazon, which probably wasn't smart because it looks like it was a third-party seller and it definitely had a couple little scuffs on it and stuff. I turn it on, it turns on, but it doesn't get hot. It just stays at one temperature. I was really confused for about like 5 minutes. I'm like, am I doing something wrong? It just doesn't work. Heating element is like, it was probably bought and then returned and then they resold it. I actually don't, at this point, I don't have enough time to watch a video on stream. I gotta shout out some super chats, actually. I got somebody coming in at 1, so they'll be in the door any minute, probably. I gotta do front doors and the windshield. I'm just gonna do that, though. Alrighty, so super chats. Big thanks to Yawel, the film trainer, Daniel Reyna, Mob ENT, Not Miguel, LKB, and Slim33. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. It was a good stream. Everything was consistent, too. Oh, my God. Internet. I have new internet. I'm so happy. I was stuck with Comcast. I called WOW Internet, and I've already had Comcast out here a couple of times, and my upload speed is, so it's like $270. That's so I could get 40 up. I have 1,000 down. I don't care about download speed. Download speed only does so much. When I stream, it's all about upload speed, and I have 40 up. That is fine if it stays consistent. Well, it's always doing this. So it'll be okay, and if I stream at a low quality rate, then it won't dip near as much, and it'll be okay. But, so I ended up calling WOW, and they ran fiber out here. Cost a little bit more, but now it's stable. And I've been going much faster on my stream. You could stream doing the doors and windshield. I know I could. And that's when everything goes wrong. I got some other stuff I got to catch up on, too. Because whenever I'm streaming, I'm just in my tint world. I appreciate it, though. Starlink.
Yay, well, super chatted $1.99. Starlink bro, $100 a month, amazing speed.
Thank you for the 2. Upload speed, though. If it gets cloudy and if it snows on the dish, then I don't have a signal anymore. That's the problem. So it would work until all of a sudden it doesn't. And Michigan, we get snow, and weather is up and down. It's heavy overcast right now, too. It's not for streaming. For streaming, you just need a solid connection. And I had a pretty damn good one, but unfortunately, it was not good enough for the upload consistency, and that's what really killed it. So some days would be totally fine, and I'd never have a problem. And then it seems like when the weather changes, like when the weather goes from warm to cold and cold to warm, and it does it so frequently, that's when it has problems. They have built-in heating. Oh, they're smart. That's good. They thought about that. That's great. I remember having satellite TV when I was younger, and then it got cloudy and rainy, and then we didn't have TV. I play YouTube before I go to sleep on my computer and wake up to your vids. Been binging ever since. I appreciate that. I do that with certain podcasts and stuff. Usually the WAN show from like Linus Tech Tips. I was just listening to that before I went live. I just got the notification you were live. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm sorry you just got the notification, but yeah, all set. Thank you for hanging out. We'll catch you sometime early next week. Bye. I tin my car. I still have some big bubbles. It could be dirt. It could be air pockets. Whatever it is, it needs to be redone then. That's just part of tint. Can get Ryobi heat gun if you like green. I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep it in mind.